Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here with me. This is the Ultimate Homeschool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Hernandez. And today we have a guest, Justina. She is a homeschooler and multi-passionate mompreneur. Welcome, Justina.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Tiffany.
Yes, so I am excited to hear about your homeschool journey. You and I have shared a little bit that you've been homeschooling for over 13 years now. And would you care to share what you have done in the past and how your homeschool journey has transpired?
Sure, yes, I would love to. Um, I would have to say like the term homeschooling was very foreign to me. The first time I came across that kind of that term of it being something that like people still do today was on Cafe Mom. I don't know if the moms listening remember that place. I don't even know if it still exists, but Cafe Mom used to have the little forums and all that kind of stuff. And I was on there searching around for other military spouses that had moved to South Korea. So we are a former veteran military family, and my husband had gotten orders to go to South Korea, and he had just come back from a deployment. So he was gone for almost a year, and then they were trying to send him to South Korea by himself for another year. And I'm all about family. Like family is the first like value, the first priority. And we try to make that happen as much as possible while being in the military. So I had learned about families that were going to South Korea without orders. They were going to live on the economy. And I was like, okay, that's nice, but I've got school age children. How am I going to live off the economy when they're not able to go to the Department of Defense schools? And that's when I was on Cafe Mom, like researching and like just learning about all of the moms that were like, oh, we just homeschool. We just homeschool. And they say it so easy and so simple. Like, oh, we just homeschooled. And I'm like, what is this thing called homeschool? This is so cool. I need to know more about this. So I went down the deep rabbit hole. For the listeners, I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in human service counseling. Like, I love research. So I literally kind of got like, I would probably say like an associate's, or a certificate in homeschooling. I learned about all the different philosophies. I looked at all the different curriculums. I just did a super deep dive. And I really had time to do that because we had gotten those orders pretty early. We knew like in November timeframe that he was going to be leaving in May. So also we had had a parent teacher conference at the end of the first semester of first grade, all around the same time where the teacher was telling us that my daughter, my oldest, she knows everything there is to know for first grade. She said, there's nothing else I can teach her. She knows everything. And we're only halfway through the first grade. So all of this came around that same timing where it's like, okay, he doesn't leave till May or the summertime, but I'm also being told there's nothing else she can teach my daughter. So it's kind of like this perfect little recipe where it was like, I know I want to go to Korea with my husband. So why don't I start homeschooling now so I can kind of get a feel for it before we go to Korea with him? And of course, my husband wanted to go in May, go a month or so by himself to get a feel for it. And then we would come, toward the end of the summer to be with him. But at least I would have had that whole semester of trying to figure out homeschooling. When I say we started with like the most simplest thing, I don't know if people remember ACEs. It's like the little packs. They like come in 10 or something like that for the school year. And you do a workbook a month, a workbook a month. There was ACEs, there was life packs through Alpha and Omega Homeschool publications. Like we literally started there. And then along the way, I was studying the Charlotte Mason method because I was too nervous to like jump into it because you're coming from public school, you kind of feel like the kids are supposed to be doing the workbook thing and they're sitting down and doing the lessons, and you're really taking public school and bringing it home. instead of doing homeschool. So I learned in that first semester of, taking the more easy route to try to figure out where we were going to end up. And really quickly, we shifted to a Charlotte Mason education. And I have been pretty much, I would have to say, a bit of a Charlotte Mason purist, ever since. So that's the philosophy that we absolutely love when we homeschool, and we ran across Ampleside Online, and that has just been a treasure ever since. So there's so much more to the story, but that is literally how we got involved in homeschooling to begin with. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is such a story, and it's a testament really to homeschool and how vast the curriculum is, right? You've got the more structured and then you have the more unstructured. Currently, ourselves, we are doing an unschooling approach, which I'm going to be unpacking that a little bit in a few more episodes because there's some confusion about what that even means. But Charlotte Mason is a great way to really segue into a more loose and child-led learning environment, which is great. What a journey that you've had going from America to South Korea and then homeschooling over and abroad. I'm sure that made it a little bit more difficult to get materials and things, but I know there is Ambleside, which is an awesome resource. We can put that in our show notes. So, with that being said, you said that you have taken your oldest all the way through graduation. And I know with that, there's a lot of different changes that I'm sure have happened in how you have homeschooled along that whole journey. So, what are you doing now with your homeschoolers? What is the current things that you are going through with what you've got?
Yeah, well, I'll take us a little bit further back because my daughter now, she is a sophomore in college. But when we were talking about the Charlotte Mason method, I wanted to just speak to that. I agree with you that it is a segue into the unschooling because I used to say we were Charlotte Mason with an unschooling twist. So I would give us that freedom for them to explore and look at the things that they want and kind of, set the books down for a little bit and let them explore and research and just have more autonomy over their education. So I do appreciate the unschooling philosophy for sure. I did find that as my daughter got to high school, I believe it was the end of eighth grade, we had her test for the college to see if she could do dual credits. So I'll say that has been a shift. That was a bit of a shift in our homeschool where it's like, okay, we're thinking about college. If she can get college credits now, why not? And she had done Charlotte Mason with the unschooling twist, first through eighth grade. And she still passed her, at the end of eighth grade, the test that she took to get into college, passed it really, really well. So she was able to start taking college classes in ninth grade, which was interesting because we were so used to, Charlotte Mason, all of that. Now she has a textbook and she has to, you know, she has another teacher. She has someone else that's educating her, but the transition was very good. So I just want to encourage um, any homeschoolers that are potentially doing more of a what we would say a gentle education, right? Something that's not as rigorous. I have the quotation marks for those that can't see me. They would say it's not as rigorous. I just want to encourage you to say that you are teaching your children how to learn. You are teaching your children to love education. You are teaching your children to have discipline. You're teaching your children to care about what's going on in the world. And those things are so much more important than trying to cram facts or knowledge or information down their throats. So I just want to encourage you because I was in that position where I was like shaking my boots just a little bit. How is this transition going to work? It's like, how, because we don't do grades. She had never gotten an A, B, C, anything like that. For me, it was about what do you know? And I'm your mom, I'm your teacher. I know what we're reading, I know what we're doing. I'm going to know if you know it based on what you're reciting and what you're telling me. I'm also going to know if you care, right? Based on your attitude and your character. So those are the things that were really important to me, first through eighth grade. And then that transition into college was just, it was beautiful. Like to be able to look back over it and see, wow, it worked. What we did worked. I think sometimes I'll be honest for myself, throughout the process of bringing my daughter through the high school years, I was questioning myself, is this really gonna work? And we can be convicted by our beliefs, by our education philosophy, even the call. I feel like it's a calling from God for me to homeschool, my kids. So, but in the midst of it, we can still sometimes have that doubt or that little bit of questioning ourselves because we're going against the mainstream, right? So, again, I just want to encourage you to say, keep going. What you're doing is working. My daughter got accepted to college. And of course, we were an unaccredited, school. I had to make her transcripts myself. That was the scariest thing. I'm like, do these things look official enough? Like even the design of it, the way it looks, is that enough sometimes, right? And so, yeah, I feel like it was a beautiful journey. Again, she's a sophomore in college now, and I've asked her and had the conversation with her. What did you think about your homeschooling years? Do you think it was worth it, or what's your feedback on it? And she has said, Mom, I am so grateful that you homeschooled me. And I just like want to fall out my chair because during the season, I'm sure, kids have their opinions or they don't feel like they're getting what they want, right? Like, I just want to go to school and I just want to be around all the other kids that are in high school and I want to do this and I want to do that. And at the time, there was a little bit of complaining, but now that she's older, she's like, I have so much appreciation. Mom, you worked so hard. She has gratitude and she goes, I can tell the difference in, my friends who they weren't responsible for their education. That's another thing too. We have to teach them independence. And as they get older, they start to be responsible for their own education. That was my daughter. She knew, get up, go do your schoolwork. I'm going to oversee, I'm going to be a coach more so than the one to actually tell you what to do every day. So she said that she can tell a big difference in the maturity level as well. So I want to share that.
Oh, that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Listening to your testimony just brings my heart such joy because we are in that struggle right now. My kids are fifth grade ish and third grade ish, if you're talking about ages, and they are pushing back. But that is where we are really zoned into our community and doing classes in group settings and doing some cottage classes a couple days a week where they're with children, they're learning how to interact with others. So that gives them a little bit more autonomy to go out and do their own thing. So it's not all on me. We're taking just a little bit different approaches, but overall, I totally agree with what you're saying. And our parents can definitely resonate with that. And I hope it can bring some encouragement to those who are struggling in the trenches right now. But I would have to say that I'm so proud of your daughter. What a great journey she's been on. And that's amazing too, that she recognizes her learning responsibilities, because that is one thing, teaching them to be responsible for their own education, but also in a way that shows them that, they are capable of doing this. I feel like the school system, the way it is now, it's like you don't know what you need to know. You don't know what you need to learn. We need to tell you every single thing you need to do. And I spoke with another teacher who said the same thing. She's like, these kids don't know how to think for themselves. That's a problem. So we're creating a problem in society, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole we won't go down today. It's so great. Okay, so I know you said you are also a mompreneur, so you were working alongside homeschooling. How did that go? How has that been? What are you doing for yourself?
Yes. Oh, it's just been a beautiful journey. I love it so much because we homeschool our kids for flexibility. and freedom. I'm going to be really honest. I love the freedom of homeschool. I get to benefit from it also. I get to travel. We can go where we want, all those things, right? We're not bound to the school system and their attendance policy and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of take that same thought process and bring it over to entrepreneurship also. Like when I work for myself, I have a level of freedom. I get to say yes and no to jobs that come through. I don't have to take every job. So I am a multipreneur, I guess you would say. I currently own a beauty agency. I started out as a freelancer. Um, 20, around the year that I started my freelance would probably be around the same year that I started homeschooling. So they kind of birthed at the same time. But I also knew my schedule. I live by my calendar. I mean, literally 30-minute blocks. Like I knew what we were doing. So I could then fit in and say, okay, yes, I can go do this project. I can work on at this theater. I worked at the theaters in South Korea, did makeup for the shows. I started off volunteering, but then they had a budget and they were like, we want to pay you. So for me, I was just having fun doing makeup. And then eventually I ended up getting paid to do it, which was kind of cool. So it wasn't something that I was like having to grind and like try to get this business started. It literally was being in community, volunteering, helping, and then there came a budget. So yeah, I did get a makeup certification. That was beautiful. And then from there, I also wanted to kind of tap back into my degrees, which were psychology, counseling, and I wanted to have more of a private practice. So, given the fact that I had already started a business, I knew that I could help other moms start their own businesses. And so I was in this place where I was like, okay, starting a business is nice. That's great. All the strategy, I can help with that. But I'm finding as I'm helping women with the strategy and starting their business, that mindset is a really, really big piece of this. Money mindset, sales mindset, visibility mindset, like even being seen for the thing that you love to do is still difficult for some people. Like, how do you go after those PR opportunities? How do you show up on a podcast interview, right? All of these things. Even how do you get the podcast interview opportunity to begin with, like, or a magazine published, or all these kind of things. So, and it's a lot of fun. I love being able to coach. So mindset and strategy are my two pieces that I absolutely love helping moms with, helping them to work from home, because there are those opportunities where you can tap into your skill sets, you can tap into your passion, and you can monetize that. And you could be home with your kids, right? You can continue homeschooling and find that thing that you can do around your children. Um, I mean, even in my makeup business, being working on movie sets, right? There were times I had to say no because my kids were the priority. But there's seasons I get to say yes, and it's so worth it. Or I check in with my husband and I'm like, what does your work schedule look like? Are you traveling any? Can you work from home these couple of weeks or whatever, so that I can go on set and do this movie? We make it work as a family so that everybody gets to be happy. Everybody gets to do the things that they love and enjoy. And everybody also makes sacrifices for each other at the same time, right? So there's a harmony that's going on. Not always a balance, but definitely this harmony, a beautiful song where kids get to see, wait, mom sacrificed this job because we have this, exam week coming up and she loves and cares about us. Or dad decided not to go on this work trip that he, maybe would have helped him with a promotion or something, to be home with us so mom can go do something. And yeah, so I had the physical business where I would go out. It required my hands. I only made money if I had makeup brushes in my hand. And then I also have the online business, which was something I kind of leaned into a little bit more because I could see the leverage in being able to hop on a Zoom call and do a session versus having to travel or hop on a flight and go to these jobs or whatever, right? So it's really having multiple streams of income. It's really finding the things that are in alignment with with your passions, with your skills, with your values, all of that. And then also sometimes it requires a partnership. Like right now, I'm partnered with a Christian personal professional development company that does a done for you membership. Why not? Right? Like that's a whole nother stream of income, which I absolutely love because it's done for me. They run the thing for me. So why not? So I have that combination of things in my business that I absolutely love. I love being able to go deep with my clients. I have I'm master certified in a mind body protocol called Splunkna. And Splunkna is something that helps people get to the root of their limiting beliefs. We can go to the subconscious level. And it's spiritual work. It's deep work with Jesus at the center of it. So I love going deep with my clients, and I love helping my clients to just truly walk in the manifestations of what God already had planned for them, but sometimes we're too afraid of it, or sometimes we think it's not possible, or sometimes we come up with a story on why we can't have both when you totally can. And I'm a testament to that with the homeschooling my children, having, multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. But I will say this, February of this year, my both of my children, well, I'll say I haven't been homeschooling since February of this year because we allowed the two little ones to make their decision on if what they wanted to do, because we had a relocation. With every relocation comes figuring out, what's the next step, what are we all going to do. And January of next year I will be back homeschooling again. So we had some of the kids, one of the children say, I want to come home. So sometimes it's okay. I know I feared that with like letting them make their own decision or allowing them to try something different. As convicted as I was about homeschooling, as much as I believe God called me to it, I still had to release control, right? And allow them to make a decision. And they're at the age 14 and 15 to, not when they're like 9, 10, 11. They don't know. As they get older, they're going to have to make those decisions anyways. But I'm happy to say that one is coming back. We're going to celebrate because I miss homeschooling. I love it. And I honestly feel like it keeps me more productive when I have a set schedule and I know how much time I have for business. Like I function better versus I just got the whole day and I'm like, okay, I usually have this time for business and I got all this free time on my hand. It was nice while it lasted, but I miss my kids. I miss them. My son, there were literally some days where he would leave the house at 7:30 in the morning and I wouldn't see him till 1 o'clock at night. I mean, because he's a football player. So you've got school, you've got practice, you've got football out of town where you're driving 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. Those days hurt my feelings. So I'm very excited to have them home. So yeah.
Good. Oh man, I am so thankful that you have joined us on this podcast and shared a little bit of your life story and how you have been able to do all these different things within your homeschool. I think there are several families who do need to do mindset work, even surrounding homeschool in general, because I feel like there's some stigma to homeschooling, but then I feel like there also is some pressures that we put on ourselves as parents to keep up with the society norms and to keep up with the structures that the educational facility wants us to, the institution wants to keep us on track, on their track. And that's not right for every child. But it's great that you have multiple streams of income. I also am multi-passionate and I have my in-person activities that we do, and then we have our online business. So it's really, when you're homeschooling, there is so many things that you can do, and there's a lot of flexibility with working outside of the corporate world to allow for you to come home. I was also feeling called to homeschool, so I know that when you're saying like, oh, to let them make that decision on their own to go back to school, it is hard because you're like, but God told me that I'm supposed to be homeschooling, and why are you wanting to leave me? Anywho, yes. Well, it's been such a pleasure. I so appreciate you. So
Yes.
if there are parents or moms who want to work with you, where can they find you? Where is the best place for them to connect with you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram. My business name is Soulfully Aligned You. I can go into what that means. I don't think we have time, but Soulfully Aligned You is where you can find me on Instagram. And then on Facebook, I just have my personal page that I turned into a digital creator page, which me and my husband share that. So it's Justina, the letter N, Travis Ford. So I mean, it's really like super personal. It's not like a whole professional page, but I do use it for business, family, all of that. So you can connect with me on either of those. My website is justinaford.com. I have a podcast called Soulfully Aligned You, where I talk about mindset strategy and also spotting new age deception. I'm really passionate about people not getting caught up in the whole like law of attraction thing and really keeping their eyes like seeking first the kingdom of God,
Yes.
right? So I'm so passionate about that. So you'll catch some episodes about that. You'll catch more about my story, all of that on the podcast. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you joining us today, and we will see everyone next time.